was today years old when I found out that Thanos and Vilgax are actually the same people, in pursuit of powerful pieces, octopus-like features, shaved heads, and wearing similar golden gauntlets. However, Vilgax Gauntlet needs an update, so in this video, we're going to make him a new Infinity Gauntlet. Let's go! First, let's sketch how the gauntlet should look. I figured it would be cool if Vilgax Gauntlet and the Omnitrix are interconnected, like how the Infinity Stones make Thanos Gauntlet function. With that, we're going to make a slot for the alien interface. My sketch looks pretty bad, but now I can make the template for this craft. If you want to make your own Vilgax Omnitrix as well, you can click the link in the description and download this template for free. But before you do that, make sure you watch this entire tutorial first. Later in the video, I made a huge mistake that almost made me start over. But you won't have to make the same mistake I did if you just stick around for the tips and tricks. Okay, now that we have the template, let's start cutting out the pieces. After cutting out the pieces, I then trace them onto this 5mm thick EVA foam. To make this foam piece easier to glue together, I used heat gun to shape it. This will be the base piece of the gauntlet, so it needs to take shape first. I then cut out the other pieces like so. For the third piece, I put it on a 3mm thin EVA foam. To glue these together, I'll be using contact cement. I simply applied contact cement at the ends of this piece and waited for 15 minutes for it to dry before sticking it together. What I really like about contact cement is that it makes the work more durable and easier to work with. After that, I glued the other pieces on top of it just as shown. Before gluing the third piece on top, I made these cuts on the bottom part. Then, I used heat gun to open up the lines. I learned to do this technique in my previous craft, which was the Thor Mighty Mjolnir. Now that the main part of the gauntlet is done, let's start painting it. Or maybe not yet. There's quite a lot of holes in the foam that are quickly noticeable, and my Plastidip still hasn't arrived to cover up the pores. But good thing I remembered this guy's comment on my previous video, so I'll be using wood glue to cover up the gaps later on. To complete the armored glove, I made these pieces for the palm and the fingers. For the palm piece, I used the same 5mm thick EVA foam. For the finger pieces, I used 2mm thin EVA foam. Using contact cement, I then glued the pieces together like this. For this craft, I'll be using this old black glove to cover up my skin and really make the gauntlet pop out. This will also make the finger pieces fit much better. I also added these pieces on the back of the handpiece. It should look like this when we put everything together. To elevate the slot of the alien interface, I made these pieces and stick them onto this pot. Now that that's done, I then applied wood glue on the major holes and noticeable gaps on the gauntlet. Using this wood glue was honestly harder to apply than I expected, but I think it did an okay job to seal the foam, so thanks for the hack, Mr. Hero! At this point, there are only 3 remaining pieces for me to make, so let's continue crafting. Using a thin board, I cut out this piece. I then traced the lines with a cutting knife to make the creases. Then, I cut out this strip of EVA foam and stick the sides like so with contact cement. This will serve as the tubes on Vilgax Gauntlet. Okay, the wood glue has dried up and it successfully filled up the major gaps on the gauntlet. Now, it's time to color these pieces using gold spray paint. If you've been watching my previous videos, you'll know that my kryptonite is spray painting. I always tend to overspray. Instead of applying spray paint layer by layer, I spray and only stop when the paint starts to drip or make bubbles. I never seem to learn, and this painting mistake happened again.
I overpainted this thing and I tried to fix it because the paint was drooling. As I was fixing it, it just got worse and worse, and now it looks like this.
I was this close to throwing this thing away and cry and start over, but I managed to solve the problem by sanding it, which removed the paint and then sprayed more patiently. I colored some parts of the gauntlet with copper and silver to make it pop. Before sticking the tubes onto the gauntlet, I'll be inserting glue sticks to prevent it from awkwardly bending, like this. See the difference? Alright, after that, I then glued the end of the tube onto this part. To make sure it tightly grips on the piece, I scratched the spot before applying hot glue. Then, I covered up these spots with EVA Foam. Next, I glued on the diamond onto the handpiece. I then used these gemstones to mimic the Infinity Stones. Finally, let's make the last piece to complete Vilgax Gauntlet. For the interface pattern, I used photo paper to make it look glossy. Then, I glued these remaining pieces together like so. To make the bevel of the watch frame, I used Sintra board and glued it onto the bottom part of this piece. Lastly, I used the old hot glue technique to make the button pieces of the Omnitrix dial. Before I show you my final work, I'd like to say thank you so much for sticking around and reaching this far in the video. I hope you will like my craft, but if you're already enjoying this video, click the thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Alright, enjoy the reveal of my own version of Vilgax Infinity Gauntlet.
Retribution.